Hi everybody, so this is my second video for today, and I wanted to just kind of show you, I think this might be like a part one sort of a video, but I've been working on something and have been steadily collecting over the past month egg cartons and working on just like a special project for homeschooling and just a fun project to do with my daughter. So this is a little bit of like a collab with my daughter. But if you are interested in seeing what it is that we're gonna do with these egg cups, these egg cartons, and like the tons and tons that we have, then stick around for the video and I will show you, and if you are not interested, at least maybe you might be amused. So let's go ahead and watch the video. So as I said in the intro, I have a ton of these egg cartons, these egg cups, and I have been spending like, I don't know, a lot of time searching them out. I don't know if wherever you are that paper, like kind of cardboard egg cartons are easy to come by, but around where I live, they're just not easy to come by. They're styrofoam or they're just like plastic, like molded plastic. But we found them at a local grocery store, and so we've been steadily collecting these so that we could turn these into something for like make-believe and kind of like dress-up sort of play. And I think I had to collect like 5 cartons, like dozens, I guess, or it might have been like 18 count for these egg cartons to be able to do this project. So unfortunately, that's probably maybe the hardest part, trying to get all the egg cartons. But I sat and I just cut all of the cups apart, and let me just show you kind of like what we're doing with them. So let me go ahead and flip the camera around so that you can see. So I have here a whole entire basket of egg cups that I just cut pretty crudely, just so that I could cut the egg cups kind of apart, because what we're going to be doing with these egg cups is something very special, and let me give you a clue. We are going to be using these egg cups in order to make flowers. And this might look really involved, and it might look pretty complicated, but I assure you it's not. And I will show you just how easy it is to make these flowers from the egg cups. So that's kind of where we're headed. And all of these here that you see, these are all in pieces. They're just kind of stacked inside of themselves, and they're just in pieces. So what my daughter and I are going to do is we're going to take them apart, and then we're going to paint all the pieces individually before we attempt to try and like assemble them all. So here's like one egg cup that I've cut a little bit more in the shape that it ought to be. And here's all different variations of the kind of cut egg cups to look kind of like what we're going for there. There you can see it a little bit better. And this is a whole basket of those kind of pressed paper, kind of fiberboard egg cups. And that's a little bit of a clue of what we are doing for this DIY. So in terms of cutting these, to get this to go from the classic egg cup shape to one of these, what you need to do is you basically need to do something called subtractive sculpting, which is how I think of it, which basically means you're just kind of cutting away in order to reveal a shape. And I have drawn with a Bic Market pen on there the shape, and then colored in the part that you would just kind of like cut out, like you would cut out these little triangles all the way around. And then what you would be left with is you would be left with the egg cup with these, I call them kind of like a flange, is a little bit of like the engineering technical term, but I mean they're really just petals. And at first when you cut them, they're going to be pretty straight up and down, but since these are just pressed kind of fiber paper board, almost like chipboard if you're familiar with crafting terms in that way, or thickers. I think that there's a name of like some scrapbook stuff called thickers. This is a little bit of the material close enough, like a little more crude of material, kind of in that way. But this egg cup normally would have been like this, and all I did, because this is very pliable and very flexible, I didn't need to add anything to it, is I just took my fingers and I just kind of molded it and shaped it out. And I did 2 kind of layers of petals, I guess you could say, for each flower, and some of them I did pointed and some of them I did more round. And then I just took kind of like the inner part of the egg carton there, so then that can be a little bit of like the center of the flower that's a little bit textured. And the beauty part of doing these is that real flowers in real life, they're very textured looking and very natural, so it's really not that big of a deal if when you're doing this you end up with flowers that look a little bit slightly imperfect, because it'll actually make them look more realistic once they're painted and everything. And you could always paint these with markers. I'm sorry, not paint. You could color them with markers, but it would take a really long time, so we're going to paint these with just paint, either tempera paint or acrylic paint. I haven't decided because I have to go and look in my art cabinet and just see if we even have tempera paint. But this is basically the idea. You would just take your scissors and just cut out that shape, and then you can round the edges if you want to, and then just kind of open up the petals and then nest them inside of themselves, and then there you go. You end up with this really lovely looking paper flower. It almost looks, because of like the color, it almost looks like a clay flower, like paper clay, if you've ever worked with that before, which is a kind of fun material to work with. But we are going to be painting these after my daughter gets done with her dinner, and you know, we'll invite you in on the process by setting up the tripod and the camera and stuff. And even if we don't finish with this tonight, then we'll be able to finish this tomorrow, and this will just be like a part 1 and then a part 2 video. So that's what we're up to tonight for our second DIY video. And we're doing this a little bit of like for homeschool, because this helps us to think about flowers and the construction of flowers, the different parts and things, so we can construct them out of material like this, sculpted flowers, and learn about them at the same time. So I turned on the overhead light so you can see them a little bit better, and I have been steadily just cutting these egg cups into the shapes with the petals. Here is like my huge pile of stuff, and we're gonna try and turn this into something, maybe do some abstract art with it, just because, like I said, I'm an art teacher and I'm like always trying to reuse things. But so here are our mostly kind of done. I mean, we need to paint them and then kind of permanently assemble them. All of our flowers. I still have just like a few over here that I can use, that we need to use for like the pistils, the centers. But so far, so good. So my daughter is now done eating dinner, so we're gonna go ahead and relocate ourselves out onto the front porch. It's finally cooling down because the sun's not so kind of hot and heavy, and we're going to paint these so then we can put them together. So we're outside now on our porch, and we brought all of our flower petals here for us to get started with painting, and we're gonna go ahead, and Rainbow Girl is gonna show you all the colors that we have. We have acrylic paint, just kind of small tube.
Oh wait, this is
paint.
acrylic paint? Yeah.
So she's gonna get a little closer so you can see them. There you go. Okay.
There's even
and
violet, which
we
is
have
probably
our
my favorite.
paintbrushes here. We have our paintbrushes here.
I will demonstrate too.
Okay.
I'm going to be using this red one. It's super duper soft. I wish you guys could feel it. And then we have these two not see-through, like this one, green ones. I really like the see-through ones because they're really pretty colors. Right, Mama?
Yeah. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and get started. We're going to... We have some white paint here, and we have covered our picnic table here with some foil so that we can actually just... It's okay if we get paint on the surface. We can even mix our paints here.
I think the picnic table actually lowered down.
Oh. The weather, I guess.
No.
So we're going to go ahead and work. We're going to fix the camera angle so that you can get an aerial view of what we're doing. And we're gonna get started with painting, and I doubt we're gonna have time to finish it tonight, but then this will just be the part 1 of this video, and then you can come back and see us tomorrow for the part 2.
It's gonna be a 2-day vlog. Well, 2-day thing.
Vlog necessarily.
2-day thing.
Yeah, two-part video. So, okay, so let's go ahead and get started with painting. So Rainbow Girl is continuing to just paint.
And these are 3 of mine. I like this baby blue one. It's like my favorite color in the world. And here's this purple color.
There we go. And these are some of the ones that I painted, and you see I kind of did it in a little bit of, like I didn't do it so neatly, and ultimately when we assemble the flowers you'll be able to see that it actually makes them look a little bit more realistic, just like the variations of colors and when it's kind of streaky. And having the foil down on the table like that really helps for us to just use the space as like a mixing palette, and then we can just kind of crumple it all up and be done with it. And you see we have a lot that we have to do. So that's why it makes sense for this to be just like a part 1 of this whole project, and then tomorrow you'll get to see kind of what we do with this all. So, so thank you so much for watching this video today.
And look for part 2.
Yeah, and we're going to do part 2 tomorrow. So we will see you
in the next
video, or like the next 2 videos or something. So yeah, but we're gonna finish this up. And thanks so much for joining us today, and we'll see you next time.